दुनिया में मिल जाएंगे आशिक कई मगर वतन से हंसी सनम नहीं होता। हीरो से सिमटकर सोने में लिपटकर मरते हैं कई, पर तिरंगे से खूबसूरत कफन नहीं होता। Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. In the next few moments today, I, Roshan Matthew, ex-gentleman cadet of the Indian Army, would take you through my story of resilience and adaptability. Now, coming from a defense background and looking at the military leadership, the discipline and the ethos, 2 stars on the shoulders shone much brighter than millions of the sky for me. And it was always my dream to serve my country as an officer in the Indian Army. I got my turn when I joined as a part of the technical entry scheme, the 32nd course at Officers Training Academy, Gaya. Now all was going well. I completed my first leg of basic military training at OTA Gaya and moved for my second leg of training at Cadets Training Wing, Secunderabad. It was here during my second term that tragedy struck. On the 19th of September 2016, during an obstacle course, I fell from a height of about 8 to 10 feet, dislocated my left elbow, sustained an open compound fracture. But the first thing that came out of my mouth was कि sir मुझे medically board out दियो ना. Now imagine a 19-year-old boy lying there on the ground with his combats drenched in blood, and the first thing that comes out of his mouth is this. Post that, I was rushed to the hospital, put up for surgery the next day. They placed 1 titanium rod and about 8 screws in my bone. Now little did I know back then that this would then lead on to me being diagnosed with a case of chronic osteomyelitis and subsequently 5 major operations on my arm, about 1.5 years of period of hospitalization with liters of antibiotics being pumped into me every day and parallel antibiotics running as well. Now the only thing that I had in mind while taking on all of this, the pain, that one more surgery, that one more antibiotic, was that I had to get back to training no matter what and get commissioned as an officer. But all of that changed when on the morning of 15th of January 2018, I remember, the doctors came and told me that son, we cannot let you continue anymore and we will have to let you go. It was at that moment that I felt the world around me crash. Everything that I had ever dreamt of, every plan that I had from A to Z ended right there and slipped through my fingers, right in front of me. Now, I knew that I had to hit the restart button in life. My father flew in to the military hospital I was admitted as, and I remember my parents telling me that, if you have the ability to secure an All India merit of 47 in the Indian Army, you can achieve much more. And there were 3 words that my father said. In fact, he told me this a few moments ago when I was on a call with him and I told him that, Papa, I'm going for a TED talk. He was like, son, go ahead, bash on regardless. So I got back up, got a hold of what I wanted to do, looked at the subjects that I liked, prepared for my entrances and interviews because, military law and tactics don't really help in a lot of entrance exams. and then went on to pursue my BSc in Mathematics, Statistics and Computer Science from Loyola Academy, Secunderabad. Now I was competing with students who were 4 years younger than me. That was the academic gap that I had lost due to my training. But I did gain something very important from the army, and that was to take challenges head on. I went on to lead the student contingent at Loyola Academy as the head boy during my final course of study, after which I was picked up by one of the big fours, worked there for about 20 months, and today I stand before you at an Indian Institute of Management which I never dreamt of in my life. Now one thing, ladies and gentlemen, that I have learned during my course of journey is that adversity does not discriminate. But the onus lies upon us to adapt to the changing currents and bounce right back. Now why do some people like us do that or are able to do so? It's because we harness the most powerful weapon that a human being can ever possess, and it's called the brain. The brain deems your thoughts deem your actions, and your actions deem your character. Now once I had to leave the army, I remember that there's this very famous quote, ma'am, you might be knowing, the more you sweat in peace, the less you bleed in war. So I got back, took my learnings from there and built myself around the 3 pillars of resilience, resolve and patience. The resilience to take on one more surgery, one more tablet, one more chapter of study. The resolve to achieve my goal, come what may. And patience, well, patience, ladies and gentlemen, to take that one moment, to take that 1 minute and 1 day at a time, because I chose to make the rest of my life the best of my life. Now, moving ahead, I would like to say, if you ever doubt yourself, look around you. You would see families, you would see friends, you would see relations, and they look at you with trust and pride. Always keep in mind, no matter what you do not break their trust and pride. Always keep yourself ready for the next challenge and resonate with what's written at the Siachen base camp. Quartered in snow, silent to remain, and when the bugles call, they shall rise and march again. I am Roshan Matthew, and this is my story. Thank you.